Hello and good morning, Kuzampo, to all of viewers from all across the country. You must be wondering, at this time usually we play movies to entertain you all at home, who all must be bored during this lockdown, but we have this important discussion to bring here. It's a continuation of the discussion that we had last night after our news about zoning in Thimphu and allowing people a bit more space, a bit more freedom to go out and buy the essentials, so that services and essential deliveries can be provided to people at a convenient time and give more space to people as well. We have discussed it at length yesterday with Community Sir, who is from His Majesty's Secretariat, and even we had our Foreign Minister and Director from the Land Commission talking in Dzongkha yesterday about how Thimphu will be divided into different zones and why this plan was put forward during the lockdown and all the details. But today we'll be getting a bit more into details, but it would be more or less same from the discussion that we had yesterday. So for those of you who haven't joined us yesterday, I would like to request Sir to share a little bit about how why this additional requirement for the national lockdown came about for Thimphu.
Lasla. Once again, I'd like to thank BBS for giving us this opportunity to share some information and create more awareness about this new pilot program that we have for Thimphu. And the main reason we requested for this additional awareness program is the more that we can educate people about this new program that is being implemented, we hope that more people will come to understand about it, realize why it's important, and then also comply with what we are planning to do. And at the same time, we would like to use this clip on social media also, so that we can try to reach out to as many people as possible. And so the background, as I mentioned yesterday, is that after the lockdown started suddenly in all over Bhutan, a lot of the residents were having a lot of problems getting access to essential items. Many people were not getting through the call centers. Delivery was a problem, phone lines were getting clogged, and a lot of people were having problems. So when His Majesty saw the suffering that people were going through, he felt that we had to devise a better system to allow people to get access to the essential items. And so this is where he commanded that we should look at this concept of zoning Thimphu, creating smaller communities and allowing restricted movement of people so that they can access essential items and also maybe go for walks if they wanted. So this command was conveyed to the government, and now we have developed this zoning proposal for Thimphu, which we will be piloting in the next few days. And so that is the background, and we hope that if it works well, it will be a much better system than the one that is currently being implemented.
Yes. So you mentioned about allowing people to go on a brisk walk as well. Is it just going for essential shopping and walks? Would there be any additional freedom that the people might get?
So in terms of the activities that will be allowed is primarily going to be just shopping and walking. That is to allow people to come out of their houses to get a breath of fresh air, get a little bit of exercise, because we felt that if the lockdown lasts several weeks or even months, people would feel very claustrophobic at home. And so this is an opportunity for them to come out. But let me stress that while people will come out and there'll be movement, it will be very, very restricted movement. So the safety of the public will still be foremost. So whatever we do, we need to ensure that the safety is still number one. So everything that we do, like zoning, is to limit movement outside a certain area. Then we have time blocks within which people can come out. That is also to restrict number of people coming out. And then we are also allowing only one person to come out from the household. So with these three measures, we feel that we will be able to restrict the movement of people so that it is safe enough for these people to move into the public space, but at the same time to allow them to go shopping and do a little walking also.
Yes. So just to give our viewers a recap of what we discussed last night, there will be different zones, a super zone, and within that super zone there will be different zones divided into smaller zones. So for example, if super zone is Babisa, there will be different zones like Babisa Gom, Babisa Wom, and Savithang area. So basically a family will get a cart. So that card can be used for 3 hours, either in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. But with that card, only one person can come out at once. So within that 3 hours, you can go out, come back, let another family member go out and all. But all that after following all the strict physical distancing and social protocols. So without much ado, I would like sir to explain what the colors are on the card, the code on the card, and I can see there are some maps printed on the back of the card as well. So if you could explain that again.
So what we have devised is a card that will be delivered to each household. So this card is actually going to be a movement pass. When you come out of the house, you'll have to wear this pass. So this is being, the delivery of this has started today. And we are hoping that maybe in a few days' time, we'll finish delivering these cards. And as soon as the cards are delivered to all the people, then we can start allowing people to go to the shops. So as I mentioned, we have about 15 super zones. So if you... Okay, so we have about 15 super zones like Pabesa, Semtoka, Luntepu, Chan Bandu, Chan Samto, Yanchepu, Ko Thimphu area, Changanka, Mutitang, Silika, Hejo, Taba, Duchichiling, and the north and south Thimphu also. So those are the much larger zones. And then those larger zones, super zones, we've divided into much smaller zones. So if you look at Ko Thimphu area, then we have two zones. One is above Northern Lam, which is Northern Ta, and then one is below Northern Lam. That will be Northern Wo. So for the core area, the color code is light blue. So like this one here, it's light blue color. So the light blue color here shows that is for core area, and this yellow strip here shows that this is Northern Wo. So below the road, if you are in the Northern Lam area, that you are going to fall in the Northern Wo area. And then if you are in the Northern Ta area, you'll see that the blue color is the same, but this has a purple band. So when people look at it, they'll immediately know that you are from the core area, but then looking at the strips, they'll know whether you are upper Northern or lower Northern. So that shows which zone you are designated to be in. So if the card that you get today is a Northern Ta card, you are from upper Northern. And the other restriction is going to be the timing that I mentioned. So we are planning to keep the shops open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. And then we are going to provide 3-hour blocks for each family to come in and visit the shops. So we have one block in the morning, one block in the afternoon, and one block in the evening. So the morning is designated by M very clearly here. So you can come out between 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. Then if you go to the afternoon, we have the A. So this one is from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And then we have the evening, which will then allow you to go from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. So you will receive, each family will receive only one card. So you will have only one time block that you can go out in. So that essentially shows that this card, the front of this card shows that you are from the Northern Wo zone, which you cannot go out of. So you can't even go to Northern Ta. So absolutely you'll have to remain confined within your zone, and you cannot go outside of your time block. So
could you show the map face at the back of the card?
And so one more thing we have here is the QR code. So this also will be scanned, and when this is scanned, we request all our households to please provide a telephone number also, so we can link the telephone number to the QR code. And the back side, we actually have the map of your sub-zone. So this is the Northern Wo map. So if you look at this, you can see that this is the main Northern Lam. And then at the bottom, we have the Thimphu Chula. So those are the two clear boundaries. And at the top, we have the Chubachu ring road closure. And at the bottom, we have another boundary that is very clear. So this is, so if you are in Northern Wo, you cannot go outside these boundaries. So that map shows you very clearly where you can go and where you can't go. So together with this, we also have some health information to always wear a mask when you go outside the house, to wash your hands when you go into the shops and when you come outside of the shops, to keep 6 feet social distance. So whether you're walking or whether you're in the shops, the Devsups will be monitoring to ensure that the shops don't get too crowded. If there are too many people in the shops, then you might have to form a queue outside to ensure that there's adequate social distancing within the shops itself. And the final restriction is only one person can use the card at a time.
Nice.
And then also, like I mentioned, you cannot use the card for cycling, driving cars. It is only for walking. And while you're going walking, it is only in the streets. This is not a permission for you to go visit your friend or your family who might be your next door neighbor. So even if he's your next door neighbor, you cannot visit. If he's your father or your brother or sister, you just come out of your house, go for your walk and come back straight to the house.
Yes.
So all of these are to ensure that we have all the safety standards in place.
Yes. One new detail that we got out of Yonten right now is that this card cannot be used to go to other households. It's just to go out for shopping and then maybe walk or two. So the card itself is very self-explanatory. There is a map as well at the back, like sir explained right now. So there is no mistaking where you cannot go. So this is what the public needs to keep in mind. Now, so talking about the shops, we talked about vegetable vendors and the grocery stores, even tobacco outlets and bars and all. But suppose if the bar is open, are the people allowed to stay inside and drink or maybe buy and go home?
I think we have to make it very clear that bars will not be allowed to open.
Yes.
So it is only for essential items that those kinds of shops will be open. So for example, grocery stores, dairy stores, convenience stores and pharmacies. So if you want alcohol, we'll try and ensure that alcohol is available in the grocery stores, or if grocery stores don't have them, then we'll request them to stock alcohol so that this can be provided to people who require the alcohol.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Now, the shops itself, I think most of the shops are running out of stock. Some don't really have stock because they are small shops and all. So what provisions are there for them to restock their inventory?
So what we're doing is preparing a list of all the shops in the 45 different zones. So we have 45 zones. So we have to ensure that all the shops are adequately stocked. So we will be linking all the shops to wholesalers. And then we'll be devising a system that they can get their stocks replenished if required on a daily basis, and if it's not so frequent, maybe every 2-3 days. But that linkage is what we are working on currently also to ensure that there's adequate stock in the shops. One point is that in many zones there are no vegetable shops. And so what we are requesting is for people who have shops to consider selling vegetables in their shops. And so what we are planning is to continue the current system that Ministry of Agriculture has started. So they will package the vegetables and deliver it to the shops. And then the people can buy the pre-packaged vegetables. Of course, it's a limited choice, but in terms of reaching out to the maximum number of people, we felt that that is a very good method. And another point that we like to make is that since we have so many zones, some zones have very good shop facilities. So if you look at Norzin, they have all sorts of shops, big, small, and you can basically get whatever you want if you are in the core area. But if you are in areas like Upper Mutitang and Lubding in Lutepu, there are no shops at all. So for these areas, then we will have to go with the delivery option. So you will make a phone call, the shops will pack your goods at night, and then deliver the following day. So you'll have to wait at least a day. And then of course we'll have other areas like Begana and the more remote areas. You'll have much smaller shops, so you will not get everything that you want, but at least the essentials will be stocked.
Yes, to repeat on our point last night, I would like sir to explain on that. What if people are not compliant? What if it goes out of hand on the first day itself?
So on this one, we would request everyone to cooperate as much as possible, because this system can work very well if everyone cooperates, and it will be much easier for everybody also. We can go out, do our shopping, we can go out, get our walks, and basically much easier than the full lockdown that we are currently facing la. But if you have too many violations and if it becomes a health related safety issue, then we will have to go back to the original lockdown situation, and that is not something that anyone would want, I think la. So in order to deal with violators, the first time you violate the zoning provisions or the timing provisions, you will be given a warning la, with the assumption that you did not know what was happening. But the second time it happens, then the card will be taken away from you for a week la. So you cannot come outside your home, because if you do not have a card, the DESUP will not allow you to come out la. And the third violation, then it becomes serious because you are doing it willfully la. And then legal proceedings will start, and the court will proceedings will start la.
Less. So basically, to all our viewers, we are bringing this discussion again today, this morning, is because the card distribution is already on the way, and as fast as the cards get distributed, the implementation will start, is what we discussed last night. So when it comes to distributions, how long do you all think it will take for the program to be implemented la?
Plus, we've started distribution from this morning. Now, people have collected cards for 9 zones, and 23 zones cards have been printed. So those have been collected, and people are moving to the different zones for distribution already la. It is quite difficult to assess exactly how long it's going to take, because we have about 31,000 cards to deliver, and these have to be delivered to apartments, small settlements, bargos, construction areas. So wherever there's a family living, we need to ensure that that family gets it la. So we've asked the people to keep updating us on how the progress is, but we hope to do it as soon as possible, maybe in the next 1-2 days la.
Yes. So families staying home can expect a knock on your doors anytime today, anytime tomorrow. If you don't get the cards today, then you might get it tomorrow as well. So let's do a repeat on the do's and don'ts again. So since this is very important,
Yes.
What a person can do and cannot do with the card.
Yes. So basically very simple. We've kept it to 3 do's. Always wear a mask when you step out of your house. Always maintain social distancing outside your home. And wash your hands before going into shops and after exiting shops la.
Yes. And
in terms of the don'ts, it is don't go outside your zone, don't go out when it's not your time, and don't take a second person with you when you go out la.
yes.
So if you have an older person who feels like he can't come out, or you have only children at home, then please use the delivery option la.
Yes. So like Sir said right now, if there are only children at home, parents who are outside or guardians who are outside needs to ensure that children do not go out, and essentials for them are home delivered. We talked about shops getting restocked and all, sir. Now, what are the requirements for the shopkeepers themselves?
So we have, like I mentioned, we have to ensure very high standards of safety for shopkeepers. So they will follow whatever prescriptions Ministry of Health requires. So people within the shops will all be wearing masks, gloves if required. They will have a washing station outside so people can wash their hands. They'll be required to sanitize their shops on a daily basis. They'll be required to ensure that the shops are not too crowded. Like I mentioned, they'll have to form queues. And then since they'll be dealing with a large number of public, we might even do testing on them to ensure that these people don't have the virus. So that way we will ensure that you have a clean environment and the people that you are dealing with also are safe.
Lesla. So when you talk about Thimphu, the zoning of Thimphu, what's the boundary for that zoning?
The super zones, like I mentioned yesterday, is based on the Thromde's boundaries. So we started from Pabisa in the south up to Dichuchiling in the north. But beyond that, we have some settlements outside of North Thimphu. So like Chantaga, Kabjisa and Pevana. So these 3 are also included in the zone. And in the south, we have RTC, Depsi and Ganchel. So
Yes.
these three are also would be considered two super zones, the north and the south, with 3 zones each.
Yes. So basically, some of the places beyond the boundaries of Thimphu Thromde are also included in this zoning plan for Thimphu, which will be piloted for a few days first, and be to assess whether it can be continued from there on as well. I'm sure there must be a lot of viewers from outside Thimphu as well, in Phuntsholing Thromde, in other Thromdes across the country, in other major Dzongkhaks and all. They must be anticipating such plans on their end as well. So what's the future for them?
So in Thimphu, like I mentioned, we are piloting this to see how it works and whether we need to make any changes. So like I mentioned yesterday, shops will be open for 2 days and people can come out for 2 days. So then after 2 days, we will review and see whether we need to have more shops or whether we need to have more restrictions. And then once that is done, and if everything is working out, we'll have it open for the longer term. And so we feel that if people cooperate and follow the guidelines, we should not have a problem and we should be able to open for the long term. And so since this is a pilot here in Thimphu, I'm sure the Dzongkhaks can also think about piloting within their own Dzongkhaks and follow similar protocols like we are doing here in Thimphu. So whatever measures we've taken, if they take the same measures, if they allow people restricted movement but ensuring safety, we think that it should work. So this is where we will actually see how cooperative people from different Dzongkhaks are, because the Dzongkhak that has the most cooperative people will be able to implement this much more successfully than Dzongkhaks where people are not very cooperative and keep violating the guidelines.
Yes. So finally, sir, I guess so the biggest challenge itself in Thimphu is the population.
Yes.
So if you look at it, the security people, the people, volunteers who will be monitoring, I'm sure they will face a lot of challenges. So are additional people deployed?
No, so this is why I was saying it largely depends on the cooperation and support that we receive from the people. And if everyone is able to do what we tell them to do, we don't need very much monitoring. Because everyone should be worried about their own safety, the safety of the family and the population of Thimphu. Yes. And if people can think like that and say, okay, I need to make some sacrifices, limit my movements, go out when I need to go, then we really don't see a reason why they should fail. Yes. So that itself should be a strong enough incentive. But if the monitoring is required, we will have the Desups. They have been very, very helpful till now. They spent the whole night last night printing the cards. Today they will be distributing the cards, and so they will also do the monitoring to ensure that people stay within the zones and adhere to the time limits. Yes. And so if additional people are required, the community people have also said that they are very, very supportive of this program, and any assistance that we require, they are more than willing to provide, they've said.
So final word from you about the zoning in Thimphu.
So while we have done the zoning plan, today we have started delivering the cards. So we would like to request the public for some assistance to help our card deliverers deliver the cards as efficiently as possible. So one is that if you have dogs, please tie them up till the Desups visit your house, because they might be quite dangerous. The second is, if you live in a large compound and people need to go through your gate and walk quite a distance to your house, please put a phone number on your gate so that the Desup can inform you they have arrived, and maybe you can come to the gate and collect the card and provide them the information that is required. Then if you live in attics or basements that are not marked, not very clear, or you feel that you might be missed out, please put a note outside saying that you are in, and then people should knock on your door to make sure that you get a card. The next point is, if you know people that are living in some nook or corner, some bagos, small cottages, construction areas, please direct the Desups to those areas also, so that we don't miss anyone. Even if you are in an illegal occupation, please ask for yourself to be identified so that the card will be provided to you. So this time we are not checking for illegal occupation, this and that. We just want to deliver the card to you so that you can do your essential shopping. The other thing is that when they are delivering the cards to you, they'll do a QR scanning. So please provide the phone number. Actually, we wanted to get some more information that will be very useful to the families themselves and to the government also. But because we felt that it's going to take time, we've left it out this time. So we will call many people back on the telephone to get that information. But people who are listening to this, if you can provide that information on a piece of paper, that will also help considerably, because we will not have to call you back. So the information that we are looking for is the total number of people in your house, how many are male, how many are female, how many are over 60, how many are under 10, how many are foreigners, how many are Bhutanese, and an additional phone number in case of an emergency. So this information is going to be very useful for the government in terms of logistical planning, and also in case we have to do testing in future. So, and if you have isolated lockdowns and one zone goes into lockdown, we know exactly how many people are under lockdown, how many males, how many females, how many seniors, how many younger people. So that will help us in planning the logistics. So this is for your own sake. So please provide this information on a piece of paper and hand it to the Desups if you're listening to this. If you're not listening to this, please provide your phone number and we will call you to get this information.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Now, as I said earlier, expect a knock on your door, or as sir said earlier, if your compound is large, keep a phone number at the gate so that the volunteers can call you so that you can come out to get the card, and also have information like number of people in your households, number of male, number of female, people who are over 60, people who are children who are under 10, and if there are any foreigners or Bhutanese, and an additional emergency number written on a piece of paper, so that when the volunteers come, you can hand over that piece of paper, which will be very useful information for the government in the future. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We really don't have time, but we have to wrap it up here.
Just
and
one last one. In case you are left out and you don't receive a card, please call 1010. This toll line will be operational from tomorrow.
Yes, 1010 is the number if you don't receive the card. If you find that other households received the card, and if you didn't receive the card, then please call 1010. Thank you so much. Keep watching, because we'll be bringing the Dzongkha version of the same discussion right after we finish this program in about 5 minutes. So please continue watching BBS and keep following us on our social media platform. Thank you for watching.